I was once addicted to watching Nicole Watterson from The Amazing World of Gumball, Gumball's mom, taking it from the back, along with Elastigirl, Marge Simpson, and Aunt Cass. You named a female cartoon character, I probably busted a nut to them. I've also been addicted to weed, social media, sugar, junk food, video games. You name it, I've probably been addicted to it, aside from alcohol or hard drugs. And to get over all these addictions, truthfully, it really requires the same mindset, just slightly packaged differently depending on what you're dealing with. But I'm going to give you the framework, okay? If you're smart, and if you watch my videos, you get automatic plus 50 IQ points, okay? So you're going to be able to apply it, okay? You're smart right now because maybe you were smart before, but if you were dumb before, now you're smart because you're watching my video. No matter who you are, you're going to be able to apply this because it's such a simple framework that's so easy to understand. You're going to be able to quit any addiction with this, okay? You just got to apply it. You just have to actually try. Okay, the only criticism you have of this video is that, well, I guess now I have to quit my addiction. I actually have to do it because it's been made so easy for me. That's how you're going to be like after this video, okay? So what you have to do is counter brainwash, okay? This is very different from what everyone else is going to tell you. Everyone else is going to tell you use willpower. Just resist. Just don't do it. And you know what? It's kind of like, because when you're at the point where you're watching Danny Phantom's mom, on these type of websites, it's like you're dealing with a monster with a machine gun that's fully spec'd out. Alright? That's what you're dealing with. And you going in with the willpower, like, oh, I'm just going to resist. It's like going in with a knife. Okay? And maybe you can get in, get a few slashes in, or maybe even, blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. Maybe even conquer the monster. But more often than not, you're just going to end up failing at the end of the day. You end up dying to the monster, you end up giving in again, and then you're just going to cry in the corner like, oh, why can't I do it? The reason why is because you've been falling for BS advice. Okay, I'm going to give you real advice here. You need to get rid of the brainwashing and replace it with your own brainwashing. Okay, you need to brainwash yourself because you've been brainwashed into doing this. If you really think with your logical mind, it's like, well, when I'm doing this on social media, just endlessly scrolling, I don't really enjoy it that much. There's much better things I could be doing than this. And everyone will admit to that. Because, maybe they scroll for 10 minutes and they're like... and that's the highlight of their day. They'll admit, if they ask their logical brain, they're like, well, I don't really enjoy that. But the thing is, they can't stop doing it. They're addicted to it. So they're like, well, I must actually enjoy this. But that's a complete misunderstanding. That's how you get into this trap of addiction, okay? You have to realize your logical mind is not really addicted. Your reward circuitry in your brain has been exploited and brainwashed, okay? Because again, let's take a cult, okay? Not Mormons, although that is a cult. Let's say the cult of people who, ended their breathing pattern because someone told them to, essentially. Before they were brainwashed by this person, if you ask them, would you do that? They would say, no, of course not. These were normal people. But they got brainwashed. Okay? And the truth is, your reward circuitry and all other parts of your brain are always the emotions. They're always going to overtake your logical side, assuming you haven't counter-brainwashed yourself. Okay? If you just let society pump in all of their propaganda, all this other stuff's going to overtake your logical mind. So that's what happened to these people. Okay? Their logical mind was overridden by brainwashing. Now, that's what's happened to you with all these addictions, okay? Because if you understand you're addicted, if you really admit to yourself, I'm addicted, which is the first step into quitting, by the way, you realize that also means you don't want to do it anymore. If you realize you're addicted to something and you truly admit it to yourself, you're not going to want to do it anymore. But you still want to do it, in a sense. It's because you got brainwashed. So this is how you get rid of the brainwashing, okay? Your brain has created a pathway, all right? Via the dopamine. I'm not going to go into, this is how dopamine works. I'm not going to do that crap, okay? I'm just going to tell you, when dopamine gets spiked, which is what happens when you watch this hyper-stimulated content, you scroll, because that's what this stuff's designed for, okay? When you watch this explicit content, it's designed to hyper-stimulate you and spike your dopamine, okay? Same thing with scrolling on social media, same thing with video games. It's designed to spike your dopamine. And when it gets spiked, your brain's going to want to do it again, because this is the most enjoyable activity you've ever done in terms of dopamine. So your brain wants to do that. Okay, that's what dopamine's designed for. It's to make it easier to do things that are conducive to survival. Because that's what it was used for. Alright? Killing a wild animal for food was the highest dopamine activity you could do for a very long time. So, the reason why it was the highest dopamine activity is because it was very conducive to survival. So our brains were like, okay, well, let's adjust to wanting to do this more and more and more. but it's been hijacked by all these different people. So now the highest dopamine activity you can do is taking meth, taking crack, or on a smaller scale, the less extreme scale, watching Nicole Watterson take it in the mouth. Yeah, I was there. Okay, so I don't think it gets much worse than that. Maybe you're in a worse position, but I can't believe I'm on YouTube admitting that. Like, imagine one of my family members watched this video and they're just gonna look at me like, this guy was watching Nicole Watterson do that. You are one disgusting man, and they should. Okay, if you watch that type of stuff, you're nasty. Okay, I was addicted for literal years. Okay, it's nasty. All right, men shouldn't be doing that, or women, and no one. This thing shouldn't exist. Anyways, all right. When you do the willpower method here, which is what most people are gonna end up trying to do, it's like you're sitting on YouTube. Okay, you're sitting on YouTube. Okay, imagine I'm sitting on YouTube. You're me right now. Maybe not as hot, but you're sitting on YouTube and you're watching, and then you have autoplay because you didn't download the extension Unhooked to remove your autoplay and your recommendations and crap. So you have autoplay, and you see it's a sermon from a female pastor. Okay, and instead of, because this is what they're suggesting you to do, okay, with the willpower method, just kind of to ignore the autoplay, like just let it play. It's like, oh, that's a female pastor. Instead of going like, women shall not speak in a church, 1 Corinthians 14. I know some people are like, you're not a Catholic. Why did you sign of the cross? First of all, okay, the Catholic sign of the cross is like that, okay? I didn't do it like that. I did it like this. This is my own sign of the cross. But also, it's not exclusive to Catholics, okay? Orthodox do it. Lutherans do it. Shut up. Protestants. I know a lot of people are not going to understand a single word I said from that, but it's okay, all right? Ignore it. All you need to care about is that women are supposed to speak in a church, and you're supposed to do, that, 1 Corinthians 14, but you ignore it. Okay, this is what the willpower people want you to do. You ignore it, and you watch the sermon for the female pastor. It's like Joyce Meyer. It starts playing. And then, within the moment the first sentence is over, I watched the sermon from a female pastor. You turn retarded. Okay, you get mental retardation. Alright? And that's what they're suggesting you to do, okay? So you're just going to keep falling for it over and over again because you're going to ignore the issue. What I'm proposing to you is actually tackle the issue. So, first of all, like I said, realize you're addicted, okay? Realize you're addicted to whatever you're watching or doing or eating. You're addicted to it. Okay, it's fine. You're addicted. Not the end of the world because you can overcome an addiction. Next, realize you don't actually enjoy it. And this is a truthful statement because if you're addicted to something, I guarantee you don't actually enjoy it. Like, do you really enjoy engorging yourself with Kit Kats and Reese's Pieces and drinking a bunch of soda? Like, maybe it tastes okay for the moment. I mean, these things don't even taste that good, to be honest. But, maybe it tastes okay in the moment, but then you just feel like crap after. I mean, when you take the whole entire thing into account, okay, and even how you look, if you're someone who's really fat and you're just addicted to eating a bunch of food, I mean, you factor that into this because the food is causing that. Is it really worth it? Is this trade-off really something you enjoy? Is this really how you want to live your life? And apply that for everything else. If you're honest with yourself, you're going to say no. So what do you do after these two things? What you must do is brainwash yourself into destroying the pathway. So for me, I got over all the addictions, to be honest, just by reframing in that I didn't enjoy it, but explicit content really stuck in there. It stuck in their heart. It gave me a good fight, okay? And the way the pathway got destroyed was I got caught by my mom doing it. And again, like I said, your brain creates a pathway from enjoyment to, what would the pathway be like? Being at baseline, and then you want to enjoy something, and then the line is, okay, let's go on the hub. Okay, that's the line. When I got caught by my mom, it's like this line just got disintegrated. Okay? And I don't want to do it anymore after that. So you can argue what happened to me was a black swan event, but I think it's kind of like brainwashing. It's such an extreme, shocking event to me that got rid of the pathway. So I was thinking, okay, how can I replicate this? How can I replicate this and give it to all of you? And I was talking to someone in a call. I kind of realized something. The way you get brainwashed into doing something is by doing it over and over again. That's how you get really addicted to someone. When you do it over and over and over and over again. When you repeat the process. So I'm like, well, what if we repeat a process that is contrarian? So what I was telling this guy was, He's probably watching this video. You're doing a good job, by the way. My idea was, you know what? Let's get an interval timer. You know, the ones you can go on Google and look up a boxing round timer, okay? Set it for like every 10 to 15, 30 minutes. Okay, and set it on your computer, and every time you hear the bell ring, go over this list that you're now going to create. Okay, think about explicit content. Okay, let's say you're addicted to that. If you're addicted to anything else, you know, do the same process. You know, imagine your mom catching you. Like, literally write down how it would feel if your mom caught you. Like, what would she think of you? How would you feel? Make that one point on the list. Next point on the list. Imagine you have your dream girl, the girl you want, and she catches you, and she stops loving you anymore because, I mean, that's a really unattractive thing. That's kind of like, ill. That's an ill thing, okay? Imagine how that would feel. Imagine how emasculated you'd feel. Imagine Jesus came down and was just watching you do it. And you just turn around and you see Jesus. How would that be like? Imagine your ancestors looking down on you. Or looking up, depending on... Well, I don't think you can really look up, can you? Because your soul gets... Anyways. Imagine your ancestors looking down on you. And they're watching you do it. Imagine how that would feel. Imagine your dead grandpa, maybe even dead parents if you've been that unfortunate. Imagine them watching. Imagine how they would feel about that. You know, imagine what will happen if you keep doing this. I mean, let's make an example with explicit content. You know, if you keep doing that, eventually one day you're gonna get into some extreme stuff, and it happens quicker than you think. Okay. One day you're just, you know, on TikTok and you're seeing them, you know, dance around, you know, like that. It's like, wow. Then one day that's not enough, because remember, this is how dopamine works, okay? Dopamine gets hit like this and eventually gets used to this zone. And it's like, you know what? We need more. So then you have to go to something more stimulating, like a novel stimulus. So you go from that to watching, you know, maybe girls taking all their clothes off and getting in front of the camera. It's a step up from TikTok. Maybe you start watching two people go at it like a cuck. Maybe then, you know, that's not even enough. Because remember, it keeps going up, never stops. It just keeps going. Then you go to, you know, watching those compilation videos they make, the really degenerate ones. It's like 5 videos at once, you're just watching them all. It's terrible. Then you start, maybe you even go to cartoons, and then this, when you ask yourself the question, you know, how can someone be into, like, human waste stuff? I know this is nasty, I know you don't want to hear it, but, okay, you have to be honest with yourself, alright? If you want to get over addiction, you need to be honest with yourself. How do people get into that? They get into it, not because, you know, their brain was born like that. They get into it because they've been watching explicit content for so long, so constantly, that the dopamine, it just needs to get spiked with something, like novel stimulus. Because you really think, again, this isn't about, quote-unquote, enjoying something in your logical mind. Okay, I was talking to someone who like, well, when I watch explicit content, I don't really enjoy it. I enjoy, like, actual intercourse more. Obviously. But that's not the point I'm making here. The point is, your reward circuitry doesn't work like that. Your reward circuitry doesn't think like that. It just thinks about stimulus. It wants stimulus. These things exploit that. Okay, when you need your fix, so to speak, you're going to get into human waste, and you know what? You might even turn backwards. When I say backwards, I mean you start liking dudes. Because literally, if you don't believe me, and I know you probably shouldn't Google this, you could probably see some weird results you don't want to look at, but there's literally stories, so many stories of people getting into that type of stuff when they're straight. But they just need more stimulus. Now, think about everything I just said. Alright? And make more of the list, okay? You can think for yourself, too, okay? Even if it's candy, you know, if I keep eating candy, I'll get really fat, etc. You know what to do, right? I waste time. Think of things, okay? And put it on this list. But think about what I just said if you're addicted to explicit content, which most of you probably are, unfortunately. Now, it was too for a very long time, so you're not alone. Think about that. Think about what I just said. Write it down. Write down everything I just said. That process of going from just TikTok to all the way over here. And it happens to far more people than you think. And write down more things on the list. All the terrible things that will come from this. Put it on a list and save it. You either write it down, you could put it on a notepad, put it on a Notion, put it on Google Docs, whatever you want. And then remember the boxing interval timer I told you about. Every time that goes off, every 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, go over the list. And really think about how you're going to feel. Don't just, well, if I keep watching, then this is going to happen to me. If I keep eating all this candy, then I'll be fat. No. Think about it. Actually internalize it. And if I keep eating this crap, I'm going to get fat. And think about how it is going to be fat. Imagine your dream girl comes across you, and if you were lean, if you were, actually in good shape, she would like you, but she sees you're a fat blob. You're a fat, gluttonous bastard. You're a fatty. She just walks by like, ew, I don't want to be with a fat dude. Because she shouldn't. Alright? Imagine this. Imagine this type of stuff. Okay, imagine the worst case scenarios. And over time, you're going to end up brainwashing yourself into doing the opposite. You're going to brainwash yourself into understanding that I don't really enjoy this stuff. I don't really enjoy what this thing I'm addicted to. Then eventually your addiction is going to go farther and farther and farther away. Alright, remember the gunfight example I gave you earlier. Using the willpower method is like having a knife. Having a knife as a backup weapon, on the side, that's good. I'm not saying it's completely useless. But isn't it better? You go from the knife, and when you do this process, it's like you're improving your odds. So at the start, you're against this dude. I hope you didn't hear that. It's my little sister going crazy. You have this dude on the other side, this monster with the fully spec'd out machine gun. And you start doing this process, you get a pistol. Your odds are starting to improve. You get to an AK-47. And then what you start realizing is this monster starts losing power. So his machine gun goes from being fully spec'd to just being a machine gun. Then it goes down to like an AK-47. Now it's AK-47 versus an AK-47. Keep doing the process over and over and over again. And now you have the machine gun, and they have the pistol. Then you have the fully spec'd out machine gun, and they only have a knife. Then after that process for a few days, literally this can happen in weeks. Okay, depending on what you're addicted to, you can literally get over it in weeks. Okay, think about 3 weeks ago. That feels like that. Feels like it was yesterday, 3 weeks ago, probably for most people. That could be you in 3 weeks. If you just follow this method, okay? Eventually, it's going to be you with a fully spec'd out machine gun versus a monster with literally no weapons. At that point, you've vanquished your addiction. And the only way you get addicted again is if you're stupid and you give them a chance. Alright? Guess what some people do? Like some people, they quit, and this happens with explicit content a lot. They quit their explicit content fix, right? They win the battle. They have the fully spec'd out machine gun. The monster is completely powerless. And it's basically almost completely gone at this point. They're like, I wonder if it has any power still. So they take off their machine gun, they throw a knife over to them and just walk up. Then they get stabbed. Okay, and that's the equivalent of basically not wanting to do it, but then just going on the website, Well, maybe I'm still addicted, maybe I'm not. Let me try by going on the website. Terrible test. Same thing goes for candy, same thing goes with video games, social media, etc. And obviously there's spectrums. For example, like explicit content, you should never, ever go back. Never, ever, never go back. Oh, with like candy, okay. Once you get over the addiction, you have candy every once in a while. When I say once in a while, I mean once in a while. But don't go on a full binge day, because that's how you're going to get addicted again. Alright? Now, I'm talking about the second thing. This is a very underrated thing, to be honest. I used to be on the willpower method for explicit content for the most part. And you know what? I wasn't really even doing that bad of a job. When I was fully rested, when I was eating a good diet, and when I was working out. What I'm going to suggest to you, the second thing is fixing your foundational factors. Because I'm going to give you a specific example related to sleep. So, I remember, I would wake up at like 5 or something like that. And not because I was really awake or anything because I slept really early. No, I just had this weird sleeping pattern where I'd sleep for like 5 hours. And I'd wake up. I'll go get some work done, and then I'll go back to sleep until like 1 or 12. But during this time of being awake, because the rest of the day, from 1 to the time I went to bed, I was fine. I didn't really want to do it, I was like, no, resist, and it worked. But when I would wake up at like 5, I'd be really tired. And my brain would be frame skipping. I'd be lagging in real life. What I realized is when you're in the state of being tired and your brain isn't 100%, you do some really stupid things. Like you can't have any willpower, and you just, even when you're doing this method I'm telling you about, you just reason like a moron, okay? And then you end up falling into the trap. Like there would be so many times I'd wake up like 5 and I would just go on the websites and watch And then when I go back to sleep and I wake up again, it's like, why did I do that? I didn't even want to do that. Why? The reason why is because when you're tired, you're stupid and you just do stupid things. It's kind of like almost like being drunk in some sense. Literally, it's like being drunk, being sleepy. You're just like, oh, this is a good idea, and you can go do it. It's stupid. Okay, so fix your sleep. A lot of you guys would actually fix your addictions just by sleeping more. I'm not even joking, bro. 'Cause I'm thinking back when I was addicted to all these different things at once, all at the same time. I was sleeping like a retard. I would get like 4 hours of sleep because I wanted to, all-nighters. Let's play Mario Kart. Stupid kid. You're stupid. I'm talking to my younger self. You're stupid. Retard. You know how much farther ahead you would be if you didn't do that? Gooey head. Yeah, gooey head. Don't be like little Billy or little Timmy. Don't be like silly Billy. Don't be like Cornelius. Alright? If you know, you know. Get over your addictions and counter brainwash and fix your foundational factors. That's how you quit your addictions. Alright? So, if you want further help, or you just want to join this movement, building back Christian men, because Christian men can't be addicted to all this crap, alright? We need to go win, alright? We keep losing, we need to go win. We can't win if everyone's addicted. So, if you want to join this movement, building back Christian men, link in description to Discord. Instagram is in description, website's in description. What else? The playlist in description is going to help you a lot. I've made videos specifically about explicit content, social media, etc. I'm probably going to redo those videos in the future, though. And subscribe for more amazing videos, because I'm amazing. Alright, every video I make is amazing. Even the ones that I don't think are that good. Like this one I think is an okay video. My stomach's kind of upset. I'm kind of sick, to be honest. I'm kind of, lightheaded, but my videos are still the best. Alright? Those are my call to actions. See you next video.